Okay, yesterday we saw how to handle the basic lazy loading concept here, how lazy loading works. Yeah. So next, after understanding this lazy loading, one more generally asked additional concept that you need to have an idea of this is traditionally how we actually deal with the concept of implementing. That means many times this question is asked, what is lazy loading, and what is virtual scrolling. So lazy loading and virtual scrolling, so similar concept. Actually, virtual scrolling implements lazy loading technique. So virtual scrolling, it implements lazy loading. Generally, single page applications use virtual scrolling, virtual scrolling to load contents on page. Single page applications use this virtual scrolling. While you are dealing with lazy loading, this virtual scrolling also one of the point here. And you can get virtual scrolling. You can get this virtual scrolling from material. So how this lazy loading virtual scrolling works, one simple option we will see, one simple point we will see. Actually, that means generally what happens is, so it loads only the content that user is watching. So rest of the contents it will not load. It will load only the content that user is watching. So that means it loads the content only when user wants it. So that is what actually lazy loading is doing. And virtual scrolling will implement this lazy loading technique, which is very important in design actually. So it requires a lot of options we need to define for this now. Let's see how this virtual scrolling with lazy loading use it, because if you can implement this, then you can achieve a single page environment, just like your Facebook, just like your Twitter, uh, like your Gmail and all. They use this virtual scrolling technique that makes a good single page application environment, especially when you are dealing with a lot of content. So initially, one simple approach how we can manage this virtual scrolling. Let's see virtual scrolling, a simple point how it can work. So uh, you need Angular material with the CDK library. That you need Angular material with this CDK to implement virtual scrolling. That is the important point you should know. You need this Angular material with CDK to implement virtual scrolling. That is the key point. So let's see how this actually works, how we actually use this, especially when you are consuming anything from services. You are accessing the data and using the data from the services, and you are presenting them. So this makes good appearance for that, right? Already we have our project. So we are using our project. Now, already we know how we can get the data from APIs. So let's open that workspace. So we already learned how we can get the data, how we can access and use the data from various locations, means server side technologies, how we can manage it from server side technology. So I will show you one simple approach here, how we can implement that. Means already we have data. So we have a server app and we have a business layer, and we are accessing the data from a database and we are using the data. So we have some get products in the API. So we are accessing that from get products. This process already I showed you. Now here important point is when we are accessing and displaying the data. Hundreds, millions of records may be there. Then we cannot load all of them immediately. We need to load only what is required for that. So I will open this business layer location, and let's run this business layer first here. So node business layer .js, business layer .js, and I am compiling this, and server started. Let's request that port number is 8080 colon / localhost 127 and 8080 get products. It is accessing these products. You have some products information here. From the database, you are accessing the data and you are using the data. Now, usually when we are displaying complex data and large amount of data, how we can consume from service, how we can access and use, that already we learned. You can try this. What you have to do is you create a business layer, you create some data with hundreds of records, you just copy paste some hundreds records, and you can implement this scrolling. I will show you a general approach here, how we can manage that. A simple approach here, how we can manage. So let's go into the application here. Suppose I have a Amazon project. So that's what already yesterday we discussed. Right, in this Amazon project, I will add a service with some data. You can get it from database and you can use from the database, from the server. We will create a service and define it. So yesterday we have this application Amazon where we implemented lazy loading with modules. I will just go here in app module, open this in the terminal. Let's generate a service here. So ng generate service, and I'm just using the service name as data. Okay, and skip test equal to true. Yeah, we are generating a service. And when we are generating the service, let's go into the service data service.ts, and here we will create a service method that returns the data. So I'm creating a public, a service method. So get products, and this should return an array of products. We are creating a service